I got to see an early advanced preview screening of the film Morbius tonight, and the film doesn't come out in Australia until tomorrow. Well, technically today, but I got to see it a night early so I can get an early review out to you guys. And just to set the stage for my excitement for this film, this was a movie I was really looking forward to. This was a movie I could not wait to see, and this has been delayed upon delayed upon delayed upon delayed multiple times for the past 2 years, and every single year I get excited for this movie just to hear the bad news that it has got delayed till to 2022. But we're finally here. 2022 is here, and Morbius has finally hit theaters, and I saw it tonight. Like was like my excitement was through the roof when I got to the theater and I sat down to watch this movie. For this to give you a few reasons for why I was excited for this movie. For one, Jared Leto being casted to play Dr. Michael Morbius. I'm a big Jared Leto fan. I'm one of the people who really liked his portrayal. Not the best portrayal, might I add, but I really liked his portrayal as a Joker in Suicide Squad. I would like to see more of his Joker if he does, decide to continue on with his version of the Joker. But I'm someone who really liked his take on the Joker, and I've liked some of his other characters such as Dallas Buyers Club, and so yeah, he's done some really quality movies, and he's a very talented and gifted actor. So I was excited to see his take on Morbius, to see what he was able to bring to this role, since he brought a very different and unique take to the joke in Suicide Squad. I was excited to see what he would do with Morbius. And the second and the biggest reason for my excitement for Morbius is I love how Marvel and Sony are kind of stepping away from the comedic aspects of Marvel, which is a side of Marvel I'm not a big fan of, and to step more into a darker and horror based tone for their films. And I hope to see more of that darker tone in their future films, and it looks like we are definitely getting that with Doctor Strange into the multiverse of madness. And so it does look like Marvel is continuing that darker tone, but I hope this film sets a new stage of Marvel films that we will be getting over the next couple of years. So now to actually jump into my thoughts on Morbius, now that you know where my excitement level for this movie was at, this was a movie within the first 10 minutes, I knew I was not in for quality, because the first 10 minutes of this movie are horrendous. It's speechless. I'm speechless. Like, there is no way to describe how bad the opening 10 minutes is, because majority of people going to this movie don't know who Morbius is, and they want this movie to be their introduction into Morbius's character. This film rushes over his backstory so fast. Yeah, you don't really like every bit of characterization given to Dr. Michael Morbius is explained in the trailer. Like you learn you learn he's a doctor. Like it's in his name. You learn that he's trying to find a cure. That's literally the amount of characterization given to him, and that's explained away in the opening 10 minutes of this film. And it's so rushed because not even the editing, when they're explaining his backstory, not even the editing flows at like a normal pace. It goes from like present day to like to like 13 years ago, and it's so like jumbled the way they decided to edit his backstory. That like I was not a fan of the way that they opened this movie. I thought it was a disrespect to the character, because in the comics, like there's more rich story to this character, and to see it just kind of just like put like put under the bridge like that is something I was not a fan of. And the villain in this film, while his motivation is like you can see where it's coming from, but it's all in execution. Does the villain work in this movie? No, not really. The villain really doesn't really show his true form until like like an hour into the movie. So when he is finally introduced, it's a little too late to actually to actually care. But like there is a cool kind of like relationship like between our anti-hero and our villain of the film, which like I did like that relationship, but it's not really established enough in the film to actually really care for them. Like you see them in a flashback, and then yeah, that's really what happens. And then you see them in present day, and and they're still very very like very good friends, and all that, and because they both have this disease, and so they have that in common. And so that's kind of like where their relationship started is in this medical facility, or is in this this like this care home of sorts. What else is there to say? The action in this movie like isn't anything to really write home about. Like it's definitely, out of all the MCU movies, this is definitely like the least action heavy uh, like Marvel film out there, because there's really not a whole lot of action in this movie. There's like two big action sequences, and there's a few mini action sequences, but when you go to a Marvel film, like you want big CGI, you want big action set pieces, and the action is pretty is pretty small scale. It's nothing really all that big. While the action in this movie is entertaining to watch, it's nothing that that I'm really going to remember, and it's very kind of all over the place, because there's this very confusing and annoying like CGI. Like when characters get pushed, there's like this dust kind of CGI, and like they never explain what that is. Like you understand it, you understand it's in their vision and all that, but like what is it? Why does the film have to present its action sequences in such a sloppy and confusing way? Like this is some of the worst action I've seen in an MCU movie. Jared Leto is entertaining to watch. He does a good job here. This isn't his best performance. Like it does come across as Jared Leto playing Jared Leto here, because it doesn't really feel like he's acting. Like the way he's kind of acting in the film is kind of the way he talks in interviews. So it's not really, yeah, it doesn't really feel like he's really giving like a great performance here. And Jolita, he likes to kind of he likes the immersive acting, and I didn't really see that here. Um, yeah, but like yeah, he does a good job for the material he's given. And now the fucking script, man, fuck, like this script. How did the script get greenlit? How did someone pitch this to Marvel and say, you know what, this is a good idea. Let's fucking sign off on this shit. Let's make a movie. Let's release it to the world. Who? Oh, who agreed on that shit? This is some of the worst dialogue ever put into a film, like ever. Like the dialogue in this movie is abysmal. The fucking delivery from the actors isn't that good, because the pacing in this movie is so inconsistent. It doesn't really feel like it's like the film doesn't really find that fine line between, because there's like this is a pretty easy story. Like we've seen this done a billion times before, and they still manage to fuck up a basic story. Like I just don't get that. And in the script, it's so generic, and you've seen it like this formula of storytelling has been done since like early 2000s. Like this is old. At least add something new to it. Besides just slapping the name Morbius onto it and that being a selling point, because that's really what this movie is. People are going to see Morbius when you're going to be let down with how his story is presented to the audience, as well as a messy ass script, messy pacing, like annoying CGI, like pretty badly. It's a pretty badly shot film as well. Like the cinematography in this, it is not Marvel standards. It's the action scenes are shot like are shot horribly as well. Um, yes, this film has very minimal enjoyment in it for me. I can't really say something I really like outside of Joe Leto. He's probably the best thing about this movie. Like there are two after credit scenes which I really like. The second one in particular, I really dug the after credit scene. So the movie does have that going for it, but that's really only one scene out of about a 2 hour movie. That that's disappointing. Like this film is lackluster. This is a bore fest as well. Like the movie is incredibly boring for the first hour of this movie. It is boring. Like yeah, nothing happens. You see Joe Leto walk around a science lab for an hour. Like that's putting that in basic language. That's what he does. It's it's not entertaining, and I had high expectations for this movie, and it let me down. Yeah, don't watch Morbius. Like watch Sonic 2. I'm sure that movie is 1,000 times better.